1 year ago, the Pittsburgh Pirates went for the treasure, and all they got was sand. The Cincinnati Reds had decided to use the postseason to put on a clinic.
O'Neill. He is out at third base.
In the end, it was the other guys who went on to glory. Not wanting that to happen again, the Bucks began this season with a resolve. Don't worry, be happy.
Bonds with a drive, deep right field, go ball!
And before long, it was, nice try, fellas. See you next year. And how many of you gave Atlanta a chance to be here? Youthful, inexperienced, you said. But like a good racehorse, this club hung in there, and in the stretch run, won by a nose. Not many people bet this group, and in the end, the brave souls of Atlanta had the last laugh. What used to be called Traumahawks turned to Tomahawks, and the rest of us are believers. And so tonight, one team steeled by the lessons of the past against a team engaged to destiny. Two cities with high hopes traveling upstream for the National League title. Well, they wanted to light up the city for all of you tonight, and you know what? It appears it has worked. Welcome to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Three Rivers Stadium, where the family of baseball fans are already making history. Because tonight, folks, they will be part of the largest baseball crowd ever here. And as the fans arrived here tonight, past a statue of Honus Wagner, they hold a lot of faith that this team of superstars will put a championship trophy back on the mantle. Speaking of superstars, look who came to work early tonight. Starting pitcher Doug Drabek. And speaking of superstars, here's what they think of Bobby Bonilla here as he was introduced to the fans.
Batting fourth and playing in right field, number 23, Bobby Bonilla. Fifth.
You should be cheering at home as well, because it's game one of the National League Championship Series, the Atlanta Braves and the Pittsburgh Pirates. And hi again, everybody. I'm Pat O'Brien. Welcome to a simply beautiful October night here in Pittsburgh and to CBS Sports coverage of baseball's postseason. Let's have some fun together as we zero in on the Fall Classic. We've been talking about Pittsburgh for the last couple of minutes, but let me speak just directly to Atlanta and your fans. We want to thank you for an unbelievable finish there and an unbelievable and memorable September. It was indeed something special. Now, we're going to make a little history ourselves here, because over time, I have thrown it to Jack Buck and Tim McCarver across the country, from studio to baseball parks, from center field to home plate, up and down rivers, over mountains. Tonight, folks, here's Jack Buck and Tim McCarver. My goodness, they're sitting right next to me. Good evening, fellas.
Good evening, Pat. It's nice to have you with us. This should be a wonderful series. Tim McCarver, these Pirates took over first place on April 27th. They never let go, and they won by 14 games.
Yeah, Jack, it was relatively easy for the Pittsburgh Pirates, but not so for the Atlanta Braves. They clinched on the next to the last day of the season. They had to win 8 in a row to do it, and you get the feeling that if they had to, they would have won 23 or 24 in a row to beat the Dodgers.
There's no doubt that the Atlanta Braves have captured the baseball hearts of America. But most baseball people think that the Pirates have an edge.
Well, a lot of people don't look at their defense. I think the biggest edge with the Pirates is their defensive outfield. Both teams have magnificent defensive infields, but the outfield glittered with gold. Barry Bonds and Andy Van Slyke The Atlanta Braves, however, with two problems. Ron Gant, the starting center fielder, a converted infielder, and Lonnie Smith could have all sorts of problems in left field, spelling Otis Nixon.
And Tim likes the Pittsburgh bullpen.
I like the depth of the Pittsburgh bullpen. Even though they don't have a dominant stopper, they have a lot of depth. And in a tie ball game late, an extra inning ball game, look for the Pirates to have a decided edge.
And two good pitchers, of course, starting tonight in Game 1. We have the fellow who might win the Cy Young Award this year, Tommy Glavine of the Braves against Doug Drabek of the Pirates. He did win the Cy Young Award last year. And we go back to Pat O'Brien.
And by the way, I've been traveling. I didn't get the call about the Blue Blazers. I'm sorry, I'm not dressed correctly today. Let's get you up to date here. Game 2 of the ALCS was played this afternoon at the Dome in Minneapolis. Blue Jays on top 5-2 over the Twins. That series now tied at 1 game apiece. Moves on to Toronto now after a travel day tomorrow. Baseball's manager merry-go-round continued today. The third fired in 3 days. This time it was Milwaukee Brewers manager Tom Trebelhorn. Let go a day after Sal Bando was named general manager. No replacement yet. In football, another superstar goes down. Bad news for 49ers fans. Joe Montana is officially out for the season. He'll undergo surgery tonight in the Bay Area on his right elbow. The 49ers have scheduled a news conference for tomorrow to update his condition, and we wish him well here. Well, they're wishing their Pirates well here in Pittsburgh. Game 1 is coming up. Have fun, folks. Enjoy the game.
The temperature here in Pittsburgh tonight is 65 degrees. It couldn't be better at this time of year. And they hope to set an attendance record at Three Rivers Stadium. And it looks like they're going to do it. Doug Drabek will be their starter, a 15-game winner. And he won the Cy Young Award last year. Here's the starting lineup that will confront him for the Atlanta Braves. Lonnie Smith in left field. Mark Lemke at second base. Terry Pendleton at third. David Justice in right field. Ron Gant is playing center. Sid Bream is playing first base. Greg Olson behind the plate. Former Pirate Rafael Belliard is at short, and Tommy Glavine is the pitcher for Atlanta.
Maybe all that glitters is gold, at least for the Pirates defensively. That's true. Barry Bonds in left field. Andy Van Slyke, 2 Gold Glovers. He's in center. Bobby Bonilla in right field. Steve Buechele, a late season pickup at third. Jay Bell at short. Chico Leand at second. Gary Reedus at first, and Don Slaught behind the plate.
And the first pitch, a breaking ball to Lonnie Smith, and we're underway. Lonnie Smith rather than Otis Nixon, who is suspended from the game because of a drug test that went against him. And it's Lonnie Smith at the dish against Drabek, and the count goes to 1-1. Smith has been a good luck charm for a lot of baseball clubs during the years. Two balls and a strike.
Lonnie Smith on the victorious 1980 Philadelphia Phillies, the 82 Cardinals, and the 1985 Kansas City Royals. 3 world championships to his credit.
And a foul ball goes out of play to even the count 2-2.
And if Atlanta goes on to win the National League Championship Series and gets into the playoffs, Lonnie will be the first guy ever to be in 4 World Series.
First
with
one
4
ever.
different teams. Pardon me, Jeff.
That's amazing. In the history of this game, he's the only one who will have done it with 4 different teams. It's 2-2 as he leads it off. And a foul ball keeps him up at the plate. Well, you see the plate umpire. That is Doug Harvey. Frank Pulley at first. David DeMuth at second. Eric Gregg at third. Bob Davidson, the left field foul line umpire. And Bruce Fremming out in right field. 2-2 to Smith, to be followed by Lemke and Pendleton. To the shortstop, Jay Bell. And that's the way this one starts. Lonnie Smith rolls out to short.
A lot of ground balls thrown by Doug Drabek. Fastball, curveball, slider. He tries to keep the ball down and does a good job of that. Against left-handed hitters, he will try the breaking ball outside. It's referred to as the backdoor breaking ball, and I don't think any pitcher in the big leagues is better than Drabek at that particular pitch, and that was it right there.
And he's dealing with a switch hitter, Mark Lemke. Lemke batting .234. Bobby Cox, the manager of the Atlanta team, has gone with his defensive lineup. That is Belliard at short, and this batter, Lemke, playing second base. And a bouncer to second. Pitcher covers. 2 out. This Pirate crowd likes the way this one has started, with Drabek getting the first 2, and now dealing with a fellow who's just had a remarkable season and a remarkable turnaround, Terry Pendleton. Pendleton won the batting crown, hitting .319. He might win the Most Valuable Player award. He might win the Comeback Player Award of the year and the century. We'll lay some figures on you as we go along. He's a switch hitter, and there's a strike from Drabek.
You look at 1990, he batted .230 with 6 home runs, and this year in Fulton County Stadium primarily, 13 home runs down there, 22 on the year, and leading the National League in hitting.
And he bounces one to Chico Lean. Down go the Braves. 1, 2, 3. To the mound, Tommy Glavine to pitch to the Pirates. The Braves went down 1, 2, 3 in the top of the first, and they send Tommy Glavine to the mound. Most people expect him to win the Cy Young Award. A record of 20-11, third in the league in earned run average. Here's the lineup he'll take on tonight. Gary Reedus plays first base. Jay Bell is at second. Andy Van Slyke in center. Bobby Bonilla in right field. And it is Barry Bonds in left. The newcomer to the Pirates, Steve Buechele at third. Don Slaught is doing the catching. Jose Lean, the second baseman. And Doug Drabek, the pitcher for the home club. So that means first up, it's Gary Reedus. He platoons at first base ordinarily with Orlando Merced.
Jack,
and with the left-hander on the mound, Reedus leads it off.
You had an observation before the game, and you said that the Atlanta crowd has made, in an unusual way, has made the Pittsburgh crowd more boisterous, and I think you're right on. I don't think I've ever seen the excitement in this ballpark that we're seeing here tonight.
It's something down in Atlanta, and it's been transformed here to Western Pennsylvania. In at the knees from Tommy Glavine. And both pitchers start off throwing strikes. It's an interesting young man from Massachusetts, up and down with the Braves a couple of times, but finally full-blown with Atlanta this year. That's a foul out of play, and strike 2. Reedus, Bell, and Andy Van Slyke. Andrea Joyce has joined our telecasting crew here tonight. You'll be hearing from her as we go along this evening. It's a pleasure to have her along with Pat O'Brien. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And you'll notice as the evening goes along, if Glavine stays in there, he is aggressive against right-handed batters. He will pitch inside. Just missed the corner, and that's 2-2.
Glavine much more effective against right-handers this year than in past years. He held right-handers to a .206 average. That ball just inside.
2-2. And a fly ball into center for Gant. And we go downstairs to Andrea Joyce. Andrea, what do you have for us?
Jack, this is a special homecoming for a very popular former Pirate, Sid Bream, who signed with the Atlanta Braves during the offseason. In fact, when he was introduced here earlier tonight, you almost couldn't tell that he was starting for the Braves. Now, Bream says he appreciates the warm reception, but told me earlier he's hoping to disappoint this Pittsburgh crowd. It's nice to know, though, that no matter what happens, there won't be any hard feelings. Bream and Pirates manager Jim Leyland will plan a hunting trip once all this baseball business is taken care of. Jack?
Yeah, thank you, Andrea. They're going deer hunting, and I told Leyland, I don't want you shooting any bucks. There's one out, and the batter is Jay Bell. What a year he had, particularly in the power department, Tim.
16 home runs, 67 RBIs. Only Barry Larkin of the Reds did better as a shortstop in the National League.
And the corner is given to Glavine. Strike 1. Bell 270, 16 home runs. And a wonderful defensive shortstop. Ball 1 strike. so the Toronto Blue Jays and Minnesota Twins end up with a split in their first 2 games. They'll take the day off tomorrow, and they'll be playing on Friday in Skydome. Now Glavine behind on the count, 2 balls and a strike. He laid off ball 3.
Change up on a 2-1 pitch. Glavine will throw any pitch on any count. It's interesting to note that flat bat that Jay Bell has. Bobby Bonilla carries his bat about the same way. Very unusual hitting style.
Some guys shooting from the hip. He shoots from the shoulder, doesn't he?
Well, you don't usually see guys with a lot of power from that flat bat position.
3-2. And out of play.
The reason for that is when you have a flat bat, what you're trying to do is make contact evenly with the ball to hit line drives. And you sacrifice lift when you hold your bat flat. You hold it straight up and down. Those are the power hitters, guys like Barry Bonds.
And he looked like he turned it over a little bit, and it ran away from Jay Bell as he fanned for the 2nd out.
Well, with that flat bat, he just flat misses this ball. And Tommy Glavine, once again, Leo Mazzoni, the pitching coach of the Braves, telling us he will throw any pitch on any count. And that was a 3-2 changeup with the meat of the order coming up.
Here's Andy Van Slyke. Andy doesn't usually hit left-handers very well, but he has done well against the left-handed pitching of the Braves. Low and away. And Doug Harvey checks the baseball, keeps it in play.
Tom Glavine in his first 28 starts this year. This is really remarkable when you think about it. He had given up only 7 runs, and then in his last 6 starts, almost twice that many. So he has recently had some first-inning woes.
Not tonight to this point. That's on the corner, 1-1. Both pitchers in a groove here at the outset, Drabek and Glavine. Boy, we're really lucky with the weather, too. This point in October, you don't get many nights like this. Inside to Van Slyke, 2 balls and a strike. Andy Van Slyke from Utica, New York. Former Cardinal, involved in the Tony Pena trade. And he's simply the best center fielder in baseball. Well, at least in the National League. Aggravate everybody who roots for the American League and Ken Griffey Jr. and other people.
Now you mentioned Utica, New York. There's another fella from Utica, New York on the field tonight. Mark Lemke of the Atlanta Braves.
What are the odds of that? 2-2. Pitch up high a little bit. Van Slyke got a good cut at it.
Utica, New York, a little town of 70,000 people, about 40 miles from Cooperstown, New York, where the Baseball Hall of Fame is.
Yeah, they have a nice airport there in Utica. If you're going to the Cooperstown for a visit, where you can stop there or launch off from Syracuse or from Manhattan. That runs the count to 3-2. Whenever you walk anybody in this Pirate lineup, unless you're pitching around somebody, you're asking for a little bit of trouble with a lineup they can throw at you. 3-2. When he hit it, everybody, including our viewers, knew it. Boy, that sounded good, Tim, didn't it?
A 3-2 curveball. We talked about the fact that Glavine will throw any pitch in any count, and Tommy may want that pitch back. Andy Van Slyke in the lineup tonight because he has hit Glavine very well all season long.
Bonilla now.
Here it is again. Down in the strike zone, but over the fat part of the plate, and Andy knew it.
It's a friendly hitter's park. Not quite like Atlanta, but a good park to hit in. And it's ball 2 to Bonilla. And so, Tim, the first inning woes for Tommy Glavine continue.
That is the 7th consecutive game that teams have scored in the first inning off Tommy Glavine.
There are 2 out. Ball 3. We saw Tommy Glavine on CBS when he started the All-Star game up in Toronto. And we'll see a lot of them in this series.
We'll see if Bobby Bonilla is hitting in this situation. 3-0 following the home run.
Nothing to swing at. And the Pirate fans like the way this is going. And Pendleton goes to the mound to chat with Glavine. Bonilla reaches first with 2 out. Bonilla is not a big base stealing threat. He only stole 2, so he'll wait and see what Bonds does. Last year in the playoff against the Reds, Van Slyke, Bonilla, and Bonds hit no home runs. 0. That was last year, 1990. Look what they did against Cincinnati.
Bonds 3 for 18. Bonilla 4 for 21. 5 RBIs among the 3. And the first time up tonight, Van Slyke homers against Glavine. Glavine with a fair move to first base. I guess left-handed pitchers start out with fair moves. The very fact that they're facing the runner makes it more difficult to run against.
Bonds hits it hard right through the shortstop. Bonilla goes for third with 2 out. That ball 8. The shortstop up. That was Belliard, the former Pirate.
I think it hit the seam out there too. I think it hit the cutout. There is a cutout around all of the bases, of course, and this ball, a low tracer, and it appeared to take an unusual hop on Belliard and skipped off the heel of his glove. I believe it'll be scored a base hit. No, it's an error on Rafael Belliard, and that is a tough error. That ball scalded the short.
Boy, he hit it. He hit it hard.
Ball hitting the heel of the glove and caroming into left center field. The normally reliable Belliard with an error, but a tough one at that.
That ball chewed him up.
Had teeth on it.
Leo Mazzoni, the pitching coach of the Braves, went out to talk to Glavine. We'll take on the Pirate newcomer now, Steve Buechele. Buechele came over from Texas, and those Ranger fans were howling mad that he got away. He could open up this 1-0 game here in the first inning, ball 1. Manager of the Braves is Bobby Cox, and there you see him seated upright there, arms across his chest. He's trailing 1-0 in the first, and first and third 2 out. What a job he did, and he's trying to get back to Toronto where he used to manage, or Minnesota.
Had a 3-1 lead against the Kansas City Royals in 1985 as manager of the Blue Jays, and the Royals came back to win 3 straight. And the next year he went to Atlanta as their general manager, and then came down last year in mid-season to take over the field position. And there is a great amount of respect between Bobby Cox and Jim Leyland. Leyland telling us and reminding us of that once again before the game tonight.
Another throw to first and third 2 out. Pittsburgh ahead on the Van Slyke home run. Over at third is one of the killer bees, Bonilla. And it is Bonds at first and another bee, Buechele at the plate. And of course, the pitcher's paying a lot of attention to Bonds, who stole 43 bases this year. 1 to Buechele. Ball 2, and Tommy Glavine got the first 2 easily. He'll be very happy to get out of this inning with only 1 run scoring. I don't believe they have ever had this large a crowd here at Three Rivers Stadium. Another pitch outside. Glavine's becoming a little unglued.
Well, that's what happens after a home run. He walked Bonilla on 4 pitches, and then Bonds hit a ball hard. I think what a home run does, it scares the pitcher out of the strike zone, and that appears to have happened to Glavine early here tonight.
They've had a home run, a walk, and an error, and 3-1 to the hitter. 3-2, and now it'll be Bonds going with a pitch. On the 3-2 count, you see the first baseman, Sid Bream, dropping behind the runner. First and third, 2 out, 3-2. Change up and a foul. Threw him a couple of change up, Tim, on 3-1 and 3-2.
3-1, 3-2 pitch, both change ups. And Leo Mazzoni, again, the pitching coach, saying that is the difference between Glavine this year and last year. He was 20-11 this year and 10-11 last year. Fastball inside here. Dangerous pitch.
Runner going. Ball 4. Well, they're loaded up now with 2 out for a fellow who doesn't receive much of the acclaim with Pittsburgh. Don Slaught. He's overshadowed by most of the other players, but look what he did this year. He batted .295. Splitting the chores with LaValliere, drove home 29 runs. Former Yankee player.
Formerly with Texas. As a matter of fact, he and Steve Buechele were teammates down in Texas.
So Slaught will determine whether it's a big inning or not for Pittsburgh here in the first. They lead 1-0. Bases loaded, 2 out. Pendleton, sure-handed as always. Whoa! In the dirt, and Bream took it out. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error, 3 left. A Van Slyke home run, and Pittsburgh leads it 1-0 after 1 in the first game in the best-of-7 series. Tom Glavine, I'm certain, is happy the first inning is over. First inning problems had plagued him in the latter part of the season, and he caused Pittsburgh to leave the bases loaded. But those of you who follow the Atlanta Braves know that a 1-run deficit is not much. Here is David Justice. Big swing, strike 1, good sinker. Justice, Gant, and Bream here in the second for Atlanta. They went down 1-2-3 in the first. 1 ball, 1 strike. Justice, 21 home runs. Missed a good part of the season with a bad back that really plagued him. He worked like heck to get back into the lineup and help the Braves down the stretch. 2 balls and a strike.
And with a swing like his, if you're a batting instructor, you know what you do? Nothing. Nothing.
Leave him alone.
Leave him alone. You talk about a pure swing that you can't teach and you can't tinker with.
He brought that swing from Covington, Kentucky. Ball is fouled, and it's 2-2. And the commissioner is with us this evening, Ray Vincent. And he retrieved a souvenir.
He got a ball with his name on it.
He already autographed.
It's already autographed.
Yeah, you're right. He's going to give it to the kid, I'm sure.
Probably asking his wife, look at here, I got a name with a ball with my name on it right here.
That's funny. 2-2. Strikeout. First for Drabek.
We mentioned the backdoor breaking balls. You at home can tell whether it's a slider or a curveball. Watch the curve go down. That's Drabek's slider, a ball that breaks parallel to the ground. Or I beg your pardon, that's his curveball. A ball that breaks parallel to the ground is the slider. So for the most part, you can tell at home whether it's a slider or a curveball.
That takes care of Justice, and Ron Gant is up. This fella hit 32 home runs. Ball one to him. You're always inclined when you look at him to say little Ron Gant, but that would be inaccurate. He appears to be small, but he is put together and he is strong. Ball two.
Ron Gant facing his old homie, too. Both Doug Drabek and Ron Gant from Victoria, Texas.
Not Utica, huh?
No, not Utica.
Popped it up. That'll be the second out. Jay Bell camps under it. And there are two out.
Both Drabek and Gant signed on the same day in Victoria. As a matter of fact, celebrated in the same restaurant in Victoria, Texas, along with a pitcher of the Braves and a good friend of Ron Gant's, Kevin Kaufman, who signed with the Braves, went to the Cubs, and now is in the Houston Astro minor league system. So these guys have known each other for 9-10 years.
Gant doesn't take defeat sitting down. You can see him jabbering to himself. Now the batter is Sid Bream. He was accorded a warm ovation from the fans here when the teams were introduced, but not in this at-bat. They're not rooting for him now when he's swinging his stick. Base hit, first for the night for the Atlanta Braves. Bream with a two-out single. We talked about Justice being out of the lineup for a while, and Bream was out with a bad knee.
Those knees have plagued him throughout his career. A high curveball right there, and usually high curveballs, catchers don't catch those. They have a line drive on the end of them.
Never get that far, huh?
Yeah.
Speaking of catchers, here's a fellow who pulled somewhat of an Iron Man stunt down the tail end of the season, Greg Olson.
32 consecutive games caught since September 1st.
And a strike to him from Drabek. And then he got a little relief from Barry Hill, who came over from the Cubs, along with Mike Bilecki. People didn't pay much attention to that trade, but it'll have its impact next year.
It was a strange trade because it happened so late in the season with only 5 games left for the Braves, both coming from the Chicago Cubs for 2 minor leaguers.
Olson pops her up for Drabek. And that takes care of Atlanta. An inning and a half. Home run by Van Slyke. 1-0 Pirates.
Proud to announce the 1991 National League Rolaids Relief Man of the Year, Lee Smith of the St. Louis Cardinals.
And that makes Lee Smith a candidate, I would say, Tim, for the Cy Young Award. He's got to be in the running.
I would imagine that he would, the way I look at it right now, it's Glavine 1 and Lee Smith 2nd. The last reliever to win the Cy Young Award, Steve Bedrosian, when he won it for the Philadelphia Phillies about 5 years ago.
Bedrosian worked today up in Minnesota as Toronto beat the Twins 5-2 to make that series even at a game apiece. And here come the Pirates in the bottom of the second. Fans are waving those rally rags, they call them. That's what happened this afternoon. Toronto out-hit the Twins 9-5. Juan Guzman was the winner, Kevin Tapani the loser, and a save for Dwayne Ward. Toronto bullpen has been terrific in that series to this point.
I said Steve Bedrosian was the last. I was wrong. In the National League, Mark Davis of the San Diego Padres won the Cy Young Award in 1989.
Ball one to Lean, and back to the pitcher. Chico is out. And the pitcher, Drabek, will come up, and we're going down with another visit with Andrea Joyce.
Well, Jack, you were talking earlier about the fact that Ron Gant and Doug Drabeck are hardly strangers. Well, as it turns out, because they did grow up in the same small town in Texas, as it turns out, there's a couple years age difference between them. Ron Gant says he remembers watching Doug Drabeck pitch in high school. He says the first time he saw him out there, his immediate thought was, that's a man among boys. Back to you guys.
And now we have Drabeck at the plate, where he collected 15 hits this year, so he's not without a chance. Batting with 1 out. Pittsburgh got a run in the first on the Van Slyke homer and left the bases loaded. 1-1.
He's a man among men now.
Ended up with a winning pitching mark after a terrible start on the mound, where he was 1-6 at one time. Talking about Drabeck, but he ended up 15-14. 2-2.
Tommy Glavine working to Greg Olson. When you think about Glavine in his high school days, I mean, he could be working next to the great one, Wayne Gretzky, now with the Los Angeles Kings.
He had a choice to make. And the strike. Look out, folks. Wow. Fortunately, that bat missed the people in the photographer's booth. Drabeck wants to make certain he didn't hurt anybody. Second strikeout for Glavine.
I believe everybody's all right over there, but Doug Drabeck firing that bat over in the photographer's booth to give them something to lean on while they're taking pictures, right? That's a tough way to give it to them, though.
You ever see a bat coming toward you, man? It's tough
Duck.
to get out of the way. You don't know which way to go.
Right.
Get down is the best advice.
Everybody appears to be all right, however. We talked about Glavine. He was drafted by the Los Angeles Kings, the hockey club. He was the 69th player of the year drafted. In 1984, he elected to play baseball. You really don't realize how strong high school and college hockey is in the Boston area.
And Mike LaValliere played some hockey too. We'll see him in this series catching for the Pirates. First one is low to Gary Reedus. Right to center his first time. 1-0 Pirates, second inning. Hits a foul ball that might be caught by, and it is by Lemke. A very good play. Very good play by Mark Lemke. We played to 1-0 Bucks.
Share this stadium with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the 50-yard line is that faded white line right there that runs right behind the infield. So I guess when Mark Lemke makes this terrific play, he's about where the Pittsburgh Steeler bench would be. Nice play by Mark Lemke, who looked kind of like Lynn Swan making that play.
Was a good play.
Yeah.
Here's the former Pirate, Belliard. Primarily an opposite field hitter. Hit .249 for Atlanta this season. They really enjoyed the defensive work that he gave to the Atlanta club. Jeff Blauser didn't enjoy it and put him on the bench most of the time. Foul makes it strike 2.
Rafael Belliard, one of 3 free agents on the Atlanta Braves infield. Terry Pendleton, Belliard, and Sid Bream. So 3/4 of their infield were free agents.
1 ball, 2 strikes, half swing, held up, says Frank Foley.
The slider low and away to Belliard. Did he hold up? He appeared to.
And the count is 1-2. Not this time, though. The ball in the dirt and out at first. For Drabeck, his second strikeout. Gets the number 8 hitter. You can see these fans here at Three River Stadium are very comfortable. 65 degrees at game time.
They have combated the tomahawk chop down in Atlanta. It's become so nationally popular with rally rags. That's what they have here in Pittsburgh, rally rags.
Leadoff man has been retired. Lavin bounces it, 2 leaned. He's out by plenty, 2 out. Let's take a look from upstairs and have an overhead view of Three Rivers Stadium. And these pictures provided by the Goodyear blimp, Spirit of Akron, based in Pompano Beach, Florida. Captain Richard Daniels from Burbank, California at the controls.
Funny, the last postseason game won by the Pirates in this ballpark was won by Doug Drabek. Game 5 of last year's National League Championship Series. What a game that was. Won by Pittsburgh 4-3 when Jeff Reed grounded into a double play for the Reds with the bases loaded in the 9th inning.
And the Pirates ended their season at Cincinnati. And they want to go further now. Ball 1 to Lonnie Smith. Grounded to short his first time. That's ball 2. Lonnie Smith, much traveled, as we told you, including a trip to the minor leagues with the Richmond club. Had a big swing. He really stand on top of the plate. One thing you can't do, Tim, is chase him off the plate.
He's been hit 9 times this year.
Two out, a foul, 2-2.
Usually guys who stand on top of the plate have quick enough bats to where they can't get jammed. The guys who stand far away from the plate like the ball away because they know what they can reach. Guys who stand on top of the plate like it inside.
And we have a beach ball loose on the field and the outfield. It causes a little delay. Yeah, what a sneaky way to get a commercial.
This ball's for you. There's Lonnie Smith with that straight up and down stance, and as Jack was saying, that left foot about 8 inches from home plate.
2-2 the count. To the third baseman, Bouchel. Down in order, Atlanta. 1-0 Pittsburgh will return to Three Rivers Stadium after this message and a word from your local station. 1 hit for each club, but the Pirate hit was a home run by Van Slyke.
Neil Heaton, number 26, and Vicente Palacios were put off the roster along with Tom Prince. The Pirates had to prune their roster by 3 players to get down to the 25-man playoff roster. And the unfortunate thing that happened, Neil Heaton and Palacios, 2 of the victims, and the players are showing them that they remember them.
All right, that was Stan Belinda out in the bullpen with the numbers on his cap. And Leland said that was a terrible day when he had to tell those 3 that they weren't eligible for the series with the Braves. Ball 2 to Jay Bell leading off here in the 3rd. Struck out his first time against Levin. Ball 3. You walk Bell, you come up with Van Slyke, Bonilla, and Bonds. So haven't had better throw some strikes. Bell leads off in the 3rd. Base hit to right. Lead off single by Jay Bell. Here's Van Slyke, and here's what he did the first time up. It sounded like thunder when he hit the ball on a 3-2 count and drove in the Pirate run in the first. Leadoff man on base now for the first time for Pittsburgh. Slight. His plate umpire, Doug Harvey, the veteran, doesn't give you much. He really measures those pitches. He'll make you throw strikes. He's very consistent. Calls him for one as he does for the other.
A lot of things that Jim Leyland can do now. He can send Bell on a hit and run. A lot of things with Van Slyke and his prowess against Glavine.
That one missed the corner. Ball two.
We mentioned that Van Slyke facing the left-hander Glavine. Van Slyke 12 for 33 lifetime against Glavine, and yet he only hit 194 against left-handers this year, and he says he just picks Glavine up. He can't understand it. Not normally a good hitter against left-handed pitching.
That's the way it happens sometimes. You just pick up the ball in a different fashion from one pitcher to another. Bream holding against Bell, who stole 10 bases this year. Let that strike go by. 2-1. And there's Gene Lamont, the third base coach, giving the signs to Van Slyke and to the runner.
Thing against running, and Bobby Cox with his right-hand man literally on his right hand, Jimmy Williams. One thing against running is you don't want to run yourself out of an inning with your big guns coming up.
And when the count 2-1, another throw over. Boo, say the fans.
What Olson just flashed down, 3 fingers, that means the breaking ball. And remember, Van Slyke hit the curveball, the 3-2 curve, the first time up. And he's going to get a slider here.
And it misses. 3-1. Leadoff man on base for Pittsburgh here in the bottom of the third. Glavine will be persistent in throwing to first. He picked 7 runners off this season. In the gap, I think. Yep. And that's going to be another run. Double for Van Slyke. 2-0 Pittsburgh.
His nickname is Slick. And this is a slick piece of hitting right here by Van Slyke. He homered his first time up, and now a double. Gant with no chance to get to it. And because of that high bounce that it took off the fence, Gene Lamont, even with nobody out and Bonilla and Bonds coming up, waves Bell home and he scores easily. Watch Van Slyke divert his attention from right center to Bell at third. You don't want to crawl up the runner in front of your back, and that's why he was looking at Bell after he took the eye off the ball.
Now Bonilla is up. Inside to him. That wasn't close. The crowd on the first base side thought it was close. It wasn't. Bonilla walked his first time. Still nobody out. That's what happens when the number 2 hitter gets on for Pittsburgh, leading off an inning. And Slyke's going to score. Lonnie Smith doesn't throw well. Down to second base. That man is safe. It's 3-0.
Van Slyke, Bonds, and Bonilla last year Again, 5 RBIs in the National League Championship Series, and 2 of those 3 have 3 tonight. You talk about a determined Pittsburgh ball club so far. The throw by Lonnie Smith up the line toward first, and Van Slyke scores easily. There's the throw. Jack said correctly that Lonnie Smith does not throw well, and Gene Lamont really taking a chance once again with nobody out.
He not only missed the runner at the plate, but missed the cutoff man, too.
And that allows Bonilla to go to second.
So he's there with nobody out. I tell you, these Pirates get rolling. Well, they're the same as the ball club. They're both good hitters teams. When they get rolling, they're tough to stop. Bonds reached on an error his first time. He was trying to make it 5-0. In the bullpen, Jim Clancy for the Braves. Lavin's struggling. He's given up 4 hits, 3 of them in this inning. He walked 2 in the first. Foul ball, and that's strike 2. Van Slyke, nothing doing last year, but a home run in the first, RBI double in the third. Bonilla has a walk and an RBI single. Now Bonds trying to join in the fun. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And a year ago, look what they did. Bonds 1 RBI, same for Bonilla, 3 for Van Slyke. Very little hitting. No home runs for the 3 of them. 6 games against Cincinnati. 2-2. Well, they said going in that Van Slyke had Tommy Glavine's number. I guess he does.
He may not be able to hit lefties, but he can hit lefty.
2-2 and a foul. Stadium here in Pittsburgh, and they think they're setting an attendance record tonight. Game 1 of the National League Championship Series, bottom of the 3rd. Pirates leading 3-0. Runner at second, nobody out. In on him, 3-2. Bonds almost walked into that.
What a package. Power, speed, defense, and a good eye. Top to bottom. 107 walks on the year.
And he may win the MVP in the National League.
Maybe.
Harry Pendleton is one of the other candidates. Maybe Will Clark. Missed ball 4. I haven't thought he had a strikeout. That wasn't a really bad pitch, but Lavin didn't get the call. That's the 3rd walk he has issued. Continues.
And what do you do if you're Jim Leyland? Do you bunt with Buechele and then have the possibility of walking Slot to pitch to Lind for the double play, or do you allow Buechele to swing away? 22 home runs this year, 18 in Texas, 4 here in Pittsburgh. But if Buechele does balk, I don't think Bobby Cox will pitch to Don Slot.
And a strike. This one caught the outside corner to Buechele. Down at second, it's Bonilla, and Bonds at first. You don't very often see a team hit and run with nobody out because of the possibility of a triple play on a line drive. Good swing by Buechele, and that's strike 2. looking for 2. Glavine also looking for the strikeout. You want to get as many runs as you can against this Atlanta club. Ball 1 to Buechele. Pirates hope to sign this third baseman at the end of this year.
Yeah, Steve Buechele this year is kind of like Zane Smith was last year. Zane Smith, a pickup from Montreal last year, signed a 3-year contract with the Buccos, and Jim Leland telling us before the game he hopes the same will be true for Buechele.
That's low and away, 2-2.
There's Zane Smith last year, and look at the job he did. The lowest earned run average in September of last year, and the job that Steve Buechele did with Jeff King and John Wayner going down. And there's Zane Smith, who will pitch tomorrow night.
He'll pitch against Steve Avery here tomorrow night. And Glavine had the ball running away from Buechele. That's the first out of the inning.
Glavine normally does such a good job working hitters in and out. You remember the fastball's inside, and then he goes to the changeup low and away. In and out, much more effective for a pitcher to work that way than just keeping the ball down. But yet traditionally you hear baseball people talking about the only thing this guy has to do is keep the ball down. Well, that is simply mythical and not true. Working both lanes of the plate, a much more effective way of getting guys out.
2 on, 1 out. Strike 1 to Don Slaught. He left the bases loaded in the first when he grounded to third. He could really make it comfortable for the Pirates, who lead 3-0 here in the third. Trying to go to right. That's strike 2. You see Slaught waiting on that swing, trying to take it the other way. Two on, 1 out, 0-2. And he chased it. That's the 4th strikeout for Glavine.
Jim Palmer used to say, and it was the first time that I ever heard it expressed that way, that a very effective way of pitching is to get ahead and expand the strike zone. And that's what Glavine just did to Don Slaught. He got ahead, and then he kept moving the ball farther off the plate until finally Slaught swung at a bad pitch.
Pitch to Buechele that he panned on wasn't a strike, nor was that one. It's up to Lean, the number 8 hitter. And ball 1. Chico Lean usually hits the ball to the opposite field. Every once in a while he'll turn on it. He has 3 home runs.
A lot of times if you're a hitter, you can look at the outfielders and see how they're playing you, which means that they're going to pitch you this way. I doubt that Glavine will be throwing too many off-speed pitches to Lean because the outfield swung around toward right.
And back to the pitcher. So now Pittsburgh has left 5, but after 3 they're on top 3-0.
This game summary is sponsored by Budweiser.
Eddie Van Slyke homered in the first, and he drove in another run. Graybeck is retired 9 of 10, and Bobby Bonilla had an RBI base hit. This is the way it went.
We mentioned earlier that Gene Lamont taking a mild chance by sending both Bell and Van Slyke, but had he not done so, they may not have scored that inning. Buechele went down, Slaught went down, and Lean tapped back to Glavine.
Well, the third base coach was aggressive, and Graybeck is protecting the lead. Lemke grounded out his first time. Switch hitter. Oh, slap type hitter. He has 2 home runs. And that's strike 2. Foul and out of play. He's batting ahead of Pendleton and Justice. We've seen Draybeck get on a roll. Sometimes he's almost unhittable. I mean, some days he has as good a stuff as anybody in baseball. And right through the first baseman. Right through Gary Reedus. And Lemke is going to try for third. And he is out! On the relay by Chico Lind.
You admire his aggressiveness, but it's the wrong time to be aggressive. When you trail by 3 runs, you have to play a more passive game. It's got to be a base-to-base game. This is a brilliant throw by Jay Bell right on Lemke, but very poor base running by Mark.
Yeah, he missed, leaned, but Jay Bell got the throw and made a perfect throw over there.
Yeah, that's that double cutoff situation where Lean's out deep and Bell backs him up, and Bell made a perfect throw to Buechele at third base. Watch this throw right there. If it's any place else, Lemke's safe, but still bad base running by Lemke when your team trails by 3 and you've got the meat of the order coming up. Here it is right here. He's looking at the third base coach, Jimmy Williams, sending him. Now, sure, it took a brilliant throw by Bell to get him, but good teams make good throws. Right there.
Yeah, we saw a base running play in the first game in the American League playoff when Toronto and Rich Hacker sent a runner home with nobody out, and that changed the complexion of that one.
Roberto Alomar trying to score with the Blue Jays trailing 5-0.
Shame on you, Rich. You know that the Braves would love to have Lemke at second, nobody out, and Pendleton up in the count 3-0, and then ball 4.
You can run yourself out of an inning. The Braves are hoping that that's not the case with Lemke, but look at that throw. That ball is right there.
Reminiscent of some of the throws we saw from the Cincinnati players last year, Tim.
That's right. 4 assists in the outfield, 1 by Billy Hatcher, 2 by Paul O'Neill, and the other by Eric Davis in this ballpark, and all of those assists contributed to Cincinnati's winning.
David Justice will try to do some damage. 1 on, 1 out.
Take one more look at it. And the foot might have beaten him, but I think the foot came off the bag, and Buechele continued to apply the tag, and Lemke was out.
Eric Gregg with a call. Now a runner at first, 1 out. Down and in. 1-1.
Instead of first and second and nobody out, and a potential tying run at the plate.
It does change things. With it all, the Braves have only 1 hit in the 4th inning. Up the middle, a base hit. Pendleton will go on to go. Now he stops as Van Slyke comes up with it. That's the intimidation factor. When Van Slyke comes up with the ball, you better stop.
And I think, again, a bad choice of base running by Terry Pendleton. I thought he should have gone, and Lemke shouldn't have. The Braves are trying to get it right, and they haven't this inning.
I agree. I thought Pendleton could have, should have, and would have gone to third on that.
Terry, a fast runner, and the ball hit by Chico Lind. He makes it easily without a play, in my opinion.
And in fact, Van Slyke's throw would have had to go into second base.
Oh, they're 3 runs
runner,
up. That's exactly right. When you're 3 runs up and you're playing defense, you're playing for that 1 out, and you're in more of a position to allow him to go to third.
But now the Braves have a chance. 2 on and 1 out, and Gant is up. And this fella could change it around. He popped to short his first time. base hit by Justice, the second of the night for the Braves. The walk to Pendleton, the first given up by Drabek this evening. There's Terry. And he'll get his swings before this at bat is over. He's a very aggressive hitter. And he follows it back, strike two.
And if he makes contact, in all probability, he will hit the ball to the left side. Well, that's a pretty shot, isn't it? Right.
It's a lovely day and a fine evening here in Pittsburgh. More of the same forecast for tomorrow. Maybe a few showers, but a lot of sunshine. 0-2. He didn't hit it really well. It'll be caught by Bonds. And that's the second out. Well, if Pendleton had gone on to third, that would have been a run. 2 on, 2 out.
Yeah, a lot of people think that a poor base running play is only a play when you get thrown out of the base. There are a lot of poor base running plays made when a runner doesn't take an extra base, but you never see that.
Now Atlanta counts on Sid Bream, and he singled, pulled the ball through the hole his first time up. Hasn't hit very much since coming back off the disabled list. And he can go and will go to the opposite field.
Left center is his slot. I'm really surprised to see Van Slyke into right center. This is a tough out for Doug Drabek. You see Andy Van Slyke, the center fielder, over toward right center. And you got to think that that might be the reason Ray Miller's coming out there now. If anybody knows the hitting potential and prowess of Sid Bream, it's the Pirates. They know he's a low ball hitter. They know he's a good off-speed hitter. Doug Drabek throws a lot of off-speed pitches, and he has to keep the ball down to be effective. So it's a dangerous situation for Drabek, and I'm sure Miller's talking about that right now.
2 on, 2 out for Atlanta. 3-0 to score. Pittsburgh leading, top of the fourth. And a ball, 1 count to the hitter.
Don't think you can get him out there. That's his area right there. Ball's low and away. He rifles those things to left center.
It was a leadoff error by Reedus, the base runner out, and a walk and a single. He hits it in the left, and Bonds will take care of it. Atlanta leaves 2. They've left 3, and Atlanta still trails 3-0. We're at Pittsburgh, and the Pirates hang on to their 3-0 lead. We go into the bottom of the fourth inning. You see the hit situation and 1 error for each club. Mark Lemke out at third base in the last half inning, and he's wondering, scratching his head, did he do the right thing? No. Tommy Glavine trying to find his best stuff. And Drabek leads it off. He fanned his first time. Pittsburgh has scored 3, but they've left 5. Glavine has walked 3 and allowed 4 hits. Strike 2 to Drabek. At the conclusion of tonight's game, Tim McCarver and I will select the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the game. Chevrolet will then donate $1,000 on the player's behalf to the Special Olympics. They might set a record here tonight with this crowd that has gathered at Three Rivers Stadium. Ball 1 to Drabek, 1-2. Best previous gathering, 54,089. And they've gone past that tonight. Back to the pitcher, Glavine. 1 out in the fourth.
Seeing Lemke make that play at third base with nobody out, it takes you back to a year ago Game 4. And you remember Bobby Bonilla. You may remember Bobby Bonilla, the long drive to center field, and here was Jack Buck's call.
Wow, the center field way back at the track. Hatcher can't get it. Bonilla is going to go for third with one out. He is out at third base. Cincinnati Reds did that time and again. This time, Bonilla was on the other end of it.
Maybe everybody who throws the ball to third base in this ballpark makes perfect throws.
And now a strike call to Ritas.
Jay Bell's perfect throw to get Lemke, and I'll tell you, that was as fine a play as I've ever seen with Eric Davis last year, backing up Billy Hatcher. That was a 4-3 ball game at the time with one out in the 8th inning, and the Reds went on to win that game and eventually the NLCS and the World Championship.
1-1 to Ritas. Cincinnati did that constantly last year during the National League Championship Series.
Maybe he's an Atlanta fan. Not real happy, huh?
That ball is fair to Pendleton. And Ritas is 0 for 3, and there are 2 out. That kid we saw a while ago is probably thinking of someday he'll be out there playing.
I'll tell you, the Atlanta Braves have certainly revived the city of Atlanta. Just like the Pirates have revived this city. I mean, it wasn't 6 years ago that this franchise was thinking about moving. The Galbraith family selling to a consortium of businessmen, private investors, and private industries. And a renaissance for Pittsburgh, and certainly that's the case for the Atlanta Braves too.
And the Pirates this year drew over 2 million people.
As did the Braves.
So both cities are alive here during the month of October, as they are up in Minneapolis and in Toronto. Jay Bell is in the hole, 1-2 with 2 out. Bell is struck out. He's singled and scored. Pendleton has it before it hits. Oh, the umpire said that he trapped the ball. That has to be the ruling by Eric Gregg. He said he trapped the ball. Pendleton alertly threw to first base, and that will be the official scoring on it. And down in order go the Pirates, and after 4, Pittsburgh still leads it 3-0. He caught it before it hit the AstroTurf. If the runner had kept going, the umpire would have been embarrassed. We played 4. Pittsburgh leads it 3-0. They've out-hit Atlanta 4-2.
And traveling with us throughout the National League Championship Series, National League umpire Ed Montague. And you had a very interesting thing to say between innings about that call at third by Eric Gregg.
Well, a play like that's very tough for us, a trap ball where you're behind him and you really can't move on a line drive. So that's why, you know, there's other umpires on the field. We have a, you can see the play here, but we have a thing where I'll come out if I'm working home plate. If I'm walking towards you, I saw something different. If I'm not coming towards you, you know, don't ask for help. So we try to work as a team to make sure we get the play right. And, you know, like I say, a situation like that, that's a tough call when you can't move very far on a line drive. I mean, it happens bang, bang, just like that.
Had Bell been safe at first base, would you as a home plate umpire walk toward Eric Gregg?
If I had seen the catch, and without a doubt in my mind that it was a catch, of course I'd come towards him. Second base umpire might have a shot at it. Anybody who can see it and can change it to get the call right, that's our main objective.
Meanwhile, Greg Olson on the first pitch in the 5th inning flies out to center field, and Belliard takes ball 1. He's hitting in the number 8 spot. If Jay Bell had continued to run on that line drive to Pendleton, Pendleton never would have thrown him out. Now a strike, 1-1.
Yeah, then as Ed said, in an effort to get the play right, either Doug Harvey could have overruled Eric Gregg, or second base umpire Dana DeMuth. I never knew that. But a home plate umpire, I guess everybody has signals just like pitchers and catchers.
Well, it turned out all right.
Oh, sure.
And Belliard skies it to Bonilla for the second out of the 5th inning. And it'll bring up the Atlanta pitcher. Doug Drabek on his way to an easy 5th inning. He walked 1 and allowed 2 hits.
I think unless the Atlanta Braves get close to the Pirates like a 3-2 game or tie them, then you're going to see Jeff Treadway and maybe Jeff Blauser in for Lemke and Belliard. Unless the Braves make a move, they may have hit for the last time. They're going to be in there for defense now. But if you get a couple of guys on right now, you may see Treadway hitting for Lemke.
There's a strike in there, and it's 1-1 to Glavine.
Thing is with Bobby Cox, he'll tell you in the middle innings that if his team's behind, he'll go for the offense. If they're ahead, he'll go for the defense.
He'll put the defense in there early, too.
Right. The middle innings sometimes.
4th inning, 5th
Sure.
inning. Ball 2 to Glavine from Drabek. 2-1. That's going out of play. Glavine and Steve Avery, who pitches tomorrow night, both pretty good hitters, and they had a little competition this year as to which was the better hitter.
And Glavine proved to be by 1. He had 18 hits, and Avery had 17.
We're right back here tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern. Avery against Zane Smith. And it is Glavine holding up. 3-2. That ball drops in fair. That is the 3rd Atlanta hit. Glavine will run the bases with 2 out. Well, we've seen a lot of the excitement here in Pittsburgh this evening. Believe me, it's bubbling even more than last year, but not much compares to the activities down in Atlanta, Georgia.
It's great, isn't it? I mean, the team left the other day on the 2 buses to go to the airport. They had people on either side of Highway 75 down there in Atlanta. 5,000 people at the airport, and one of the best stories I heard, they had a prison crew that was they had those cycles, and they were cutting grass in the median, and when the Braves bus went by, they picked up the cycles and started giving the tomahawk chop with them. But baseball is in the foreground now, and football's taking a back seat, and that's unusual in Atlanta.
Drabek falls behind Lonnie Smith, who's 0 for 2. And he had a good swing, but fouled it off. 1 ball, 1 strike. I bet Deion Sanders is watching this game and rooting for the Braves. He helped them along the way. Glavine at first, 2 out. Strike, 1-2.
Matter of fact, Deion will be playing this Sunday in San Francisco. The 49ers were originally supposed to play the Falcons in Atlanta, and that schedule made about a year ago. Of course, they didn't realize the Braves would be in it, so that game was switched to Candlestick Park in San Francisco.
Let's see if Lonnie Smith can keep this 5th inning alive. Nope. Inning's over. And the Braves have left 4. Hometown scene here in Pittsburgh, game 1 of the National League Championship Series, and the Pirates leading 3-0, bottom of the 5th. But let's take a look at the other hometown involved, Atlanta, GA, and they're lined up, and they have been since 6 p.m. last night for the tickets that go on sale tomorrow morning. The remaining tickets, and we'll be playing down there on Saturday afternoon.
And they're the chops. And we're not talking about lamb chops. Those are tomahawk chops.
They've got the fever. They've got the flavor, and they are ready down in Atlanta. We'll hear some noise down there. Meanwhile, the Pirates band in the bottom of the 5th here. And who's up? Van Slyke. Can he do any more this evening? Tommy Glavine drifts a strike in there. 3-0 Pittsburgh. They've out-hit the Braves 4-3. And Slyke homered in the first, doubled home a run in the third, and scored a run. Inside to the hitter, 1-1. We'll be there Saturday at 3 o'clock Eastern Time for Game 3 of this playoff. And Slyke's probably saying, how'd that last pitch miss me? How'd I miss that one? 1-2.
John Smoltz and 20-game winner John Smiley will be going for Pittsburgh on Saturday. And you say, how can Glavine be the front runner for the Cy Young Award with John Smiley winning 20 also?
Van Slyke hits one to left field, and Lonnie Smith has it for the out. Well, it's 3, 6, 7 in a row retired by Glavine. That's what happened so far. Van Slyke homered in the first. Van Slyke double homer run in the third. Then he scored on a base hit by Bonilla. And it's 3-0 with Bonilla up. Base is empty, 1 out. He has walked, singled, driven in that run. Foul ball bounced off his foot. Well, from all you hear, Tim, it's a foregone conclusion that he is not going to be here in Pirate uniform next year.
Pounds this one right off the instep.
That hurt.
The left ankle. And that hurt, but that ankle and his feelings will be soothed with whomever he signs at the end of the year. An open market for Bobby Bonilla. There's been talk about the New York clubs having an interest, and who wouldn't have an interest with this type of run production. He turned down $16.8 million from Pittsburgh over a 4-year period. Leland telling us before the game that he turned down either $4.5 million over 3 years or $4.2 million over 4 years. And he thinks he can get more in the open market, and he probably will.
That's astounding. He might even get $5 million a year for 5 years. 25 mil.
And that would be tops.
Well, Glavine is in a good groove now. He has set down 8 in a row. Trying to take him out of that groove is Barry Bonds. And ball 1. Kim, you mentioned an interesting item about Bonds choking up on the bat.
Barry does choke up about an inch and a half on the bat. And a lot of people, I think that is related to just putting the ball in play. Well, here you have one of the better power hitters around, 116 RBIs. And I think a lot of baseball people think that if you choke up on the bat, you're just trying to make contact. Power hitters choke up on the bat, and contact hitters hold the bat down at the end of the barrel. You can have just as good a bat control by holding the hands down at the end of the barrel. But Barry Bonds, the bat feels better when he chokes up a couple of inches, and obviously he's got the numbers to prove that that's the best way to handle that bat.
He lost the RBI title by only 1 to Howard Johnson. Bonds drove in 116. 3-2 on the foul ball. With 2 out of the 5th. That'll be interesting. The MVP voting and the Cy Young voting and the Rookie of the Year voting. Glavine has set down 8 in a row. That's out of play also. Pittsburgh has scored 3 to left 5, and they lead 3-0 in the 5th. To the second baseman, Lemke, and down go the Pirates. 1, 2, 3. We'll return to Three Rivers Stadium after this message and a word from your local station.
Back in Pittsburgh, baseball fans may have noticed that Bobby Bonilla is not wearing his usual number 25 this season. He switched to the number 23 in honor of Scott May. Now, Scott May is the son of hitting coach Milt May. Scott is a promising young ball player who was terribly injured, seriously injured in a car accident on Christmas Eve. He was in a coma for a couple of weeks, and since that time has made an almost miraculous recovery. He will be here tomorrow night to throw out the first pitch. Bonilla told me that this was just his way of showing Scott May that all of the Pirates are behind him in this effort. Back upstairs to you guys.
Thank you, Andrea, and that's typical of Bobby Bonilla.
It's nice, huh? Yeah, it is.
He's a most happy fella. Here we go into the 6th. And one to the second baseman, leaned. And there's one out.
There's Milt May right there, the batting instructor of the Pirates. And Milt told me a couple of weeks ago that it takes about 18 months for Scott to get back to full strength, but he is playing ball again and rapidly progressing, and it's a great story.
And Pinky May is the father of Milt May, and a former Major League ball player, and I'm sure he's tuned in on the action here from Three Rivers Stadium, where the Pirates lead 3-0 in the 6th, one out. M. Pendleton bats with the bases empty. He is 0 for 1 with a walk. Strike one to Pendleton. Draybeck is going to be tough for these Braves to beat. Atlanta has 3 hits and a walk thus far. Pittsburgh made an error, but it didn't hurt. Pendleton 1-1.
Braves clinching the next to the last day of the season. The Pirates clinched on September 22nd, a full 13 days before the Atlanta Braves.
Pittsburgh in first place since April 27th. Ball 2 to Pendleton.
Now, Jack, there have been 5 previous cases in which one team clinched its title at least 10 days earlier than its opponent. And in all 5 cases, that's 10 days earlier, in all 5 cases, not only did the early clinching team win the championship series, they swept their opponent.
Uh-oh. So if recent form holds up, Pittsburgh will sweep Atlanta, but here is the ball 2-1. We don't want any sweep, do we?
Have no control over it. Those up until 1988, of course, those were the best 3 out of 5 series. So 70, 75, 80, and 84. Those were 3 straight.
And then pops it foul, 3-2.
Put me on the spot like that. No, I don't want to sweep. No, no, no.
A shot from our blimp, the Spirit of Akron. It's sponsored this year by Goodyear Tires and Blimp Tour 91. It's a 247,000 cubic feet Spirit, and it's the world's largest blimp in operation today. Showing you the pictures of the stadium in downtown Pittsburgh. 3-2.
Draybeck is not a strikeout pitcher. His belief is the belief of Ray Miller, the pitching coach. Put the ball in play and allow the guys behind you to field it, preferably on the ground, but he just blows this fastball right by Terry Pendleton. That's the luxury of a 3-run lead. You can throw a 3-2 fastball and challenge the hitter.
4 strikeouts now for Draybeck and 2 quick outs here in the 6th. David Justice has one of the 3 Atlanta hits. Sweep. Shoot.
We had
And
two
that's ball 2.
We had 2 last year, right? 2 sweeps, the Cincinnati Reds sweeping the Oakland Athletics, and the Athletics sweeping the Boston Red Sox. National League Championship Series went 6 games with, of course, Cincinnati won.
Draybeck has gone to some power pitching here. 2-1 to Justice. Bobby Cox doesn't like the scenario at the moment. Braves have left 4 and lost another runner while being shut out. And we're in the 6th. The count goes to 3-1.
Fastball hitter in a fastball situation.
And ball 4 for the second walk given to Atlanta. And we'll see what Ron Gant can do about this.
The Braves need something dramatic out of their offense. They need a big pop, and they've got the guy up to do it. We mentioned earlier that this guy is one of the pure pull hitters around baseball, and we've got some numbers to back it up. Ron Gant, one of the deadlier inside hitters in the National League.
Foul ball, strike 1. He's popped to short and he's flied to left.
Of all the hits to the outfield this year, now try to digest this, folks. 100 have been hit to left field, 17 to center, and 9 to right.
That's a pull hitter.
That is a pull hitter if I've ever seen one.
Ron Gant, he can turn on that inside pitch. So we'll see how Drabek tries to get him out. Strike 1. Off the corner. Strike 2.
Inside corner. We talked about Gant being an inside hitter. And now look for Drabek to go away, away, away. No way you're going to challenge him anymore in there.
We're going away down south to Dixie for the Saturday game and Sunday.
Fastball away.
Lemke grounded out. Pendleton struck out. Justice walked. 0-2 to Ron Gant. That's out of play as the catcher Don Slott set up low on the way.
And that was a mistake too. Drabek got away with one there. Remember we talked about expanding the strike zone? Well, with the count 0-2, what pitchers try to do, they try to throw the ball off the plate and entice the hitter to swing at it. That ball tailed right back over the outside part of the plate, and Drabek got away with one there.
The count is 0-2.
Here's your slider here.
And Gant stayed with it, keeping the count 0-2 with 2 out.
You're seeing Slott look to the dugout over there. What he's looking for a pitch out. If Ray Miller gives a fist, but pitch outs, he's doing it more out of habit right now. No way that you're calling the sign of veteran catcher back there. Drabek's been about a run better with Slott behind the plate, and they're going to come inside to Gant.
And it sinks low, 1-2.
But that's what Slott is looking to the dugout for. He's trying to see if Ray Miller wants him to pitch out or not, but with a 3-run lead, no way.
Justice playing it very close. He's the runner at first, 2 out. You're right, Tim. Atlanta needs a jolt or a bolt here. They need something. Breaking ball coming up. And strike 3 call. 5 strikeouts for Drabek, who still leads 3-0.
In the Pittsburgh Pirate dugout, hitters take out their frustrations in different ways, and we're going to carry you back into the bathroom door. Now you see right here there are 25 dents on this door. Look at all these dents. Bang, bang, bang. You see all these dents? They're all over the place. Take that, John Madden. We can do it too. It looks like a play John would draw, right?
You should have grunted. Should have grunted when you do that. Well, next Sunday, the NFL on CBS, New Orleans at Philadelphia, Phoenix against the Vikings in Atlanta, at San Francisco. That game had to be moved because there's baseball in Fulton County Stadium on Monday.
You know, if you're a door in a dugout, you got to be strong. I mean, real strong to take some of the licks they get.
Finally, here's Steve Buechele leading off in the 6th, and Tommy Glavine throws low. The Atlanta pitcher has retired 9 in a row, but the score is 3-0. Pirates with a run in the 1st and 2 in the 3rd. And 1 ball, 1 strike. It'll be Buechele, then Don Slaught, and Jose Lean.
Think about it. What other sport can you take out your frustration after you don't perform well on the field?
Into the gap. Buechele's going to get 2. A leadoff double in the 6th.
Buechele takes the fastball away. Look at Greg Olson and the way he gives that sign. Well, I'll tell you, and target makes your knees hurt. Buechele with his first hit of the series and first hit ever in postseason play.
He, by the way, Buechele has never played in Atlanta Stadium, so he's looking forward to that. Trying to go the other way and move the runner along. It's Don Slaught. He grounded out with the bases loaded in the 1st. And he struck out with a couple of men on in the 3rd. So we'd like to take advantage of this opportunity. Lead off double by Buechele, and Slaught takes ball 1. That's 5 hits now against Glavine, and Mark Wohlers is the right-hander warming up in the Atlanta bullpen. Pretty fair-sized lead by Buechele. Foul ball as Slaught was jammed and tried to avoid the pitch. 1-2. Glavine had retired 9 in a row before Buechele touched that one off. And another foul as he broke the bat. Up in the Metrodome today, Toronto won it. Got out in front, held on, added to their lead in the 7th, 5-2. Juan Guzman the winner, Happany the loser, and a save for Dwayne Ward. Jays bullpen, look what they've done. 8 2/3 shutout innings in the series. So after losing 5-4, they won 5-2. Here's the remainder of the action. A day off tomorrow, and then a night game in Toronto on Friday, another night game on Saturday, and that 4 p.m. start on Sunday. 1-2 to Slaught.
Realistically, Jack, that's exactly what Toronto wanted to do. They wanted to win at least one up at the Metrodome. And I say realistically, naturally you'll take 2, but I think the Braves are in the same situation. They want to win at least one here at Three Rivers.
Still out of play. Atlanta did not win a game, Pittsburgh did not win a game in Atlanta all year. They lost all 6 they played down there. So Pirates certainly want to be in good shape when they go to Georgia. Slaught doing a good job of hanging in there against Glavine. 1-2 the count. But he popped him up for the first out, and Belliard's going to catch it. Runner at second, 1 out, so Slaught failed to move the runner.
You mentioned the Pirates have not won a game in Atlanta all season long. They're 0-6 there. Well, that's the exact record of the Atlanta Braves in postseason play. They were in the first divisional championship series back in 1960 '89, they lost 3 to the Mets, and then they were swept by the Cardinals in 1982. So the Braves 0-6 in postseason play.
That is likely to change. Here is ball 1 to Jose Lean.
Maybe wondering what that H is on the sleeve of Jose Lean and all of the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's in honor of John Hallahan, Hooley, the equipment manager of the Pirates, who worked for 50 years.
Ground ball to short. The runner going to third. 2 out.
50 years as the equipment manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates, and Hooley passed away in early September. And the clubhouse, the Pittsburgh clubhouse, has been named after John Hallahan, and was he ever a fine man? There's the big H. Excuse me, Jack.
Gene Lamont, the third base coach, wearing that H along with all of the other players. Now there's a runner at third, 2 out, and the pitcher is up. Draybeck. He drove in 2 runs this year. He'd like to give himself another run here as he leads 3-0 in the 6th. Pittsburgh has left 5 so far. Draybeck went after that one rather well, 1-1.
Both pitchers field their positions well. They hit well. Glavine with 18 hits, Draybeck with 15.
Glavine shoots it over the head of the center fielder, Gant. That makes it 4-0. He's going to try for 3. And out at third base. But the run scores, and after 6, it's a 4-0 game. He shouldn't have run with 2 out. Draybeck a little slow getting up.
Top of the 7th inning, and Pittsburgh may be in for some bad news. Doug Draybeck, with a runner at third and 2 outs, lines this one over the head of Ron Gant. Gant can't on that play. He recovers in time, however, to hit the cutoff man, but watch Draybeck look toward Gant. There's once. There's twice. Gant's stride appears to be messed up, and he appeared to jam either his right ankle or right knee in third base. I think the out may be insignificant, and here comes Draybeck.
He's limping as he walks out there, however. Now he breaks into a trot, and he's still limping.
That's the one bad thing that managers hate to see. They hate to see pitchers running the bases. Remember Jose Rio earlier in the year breaking an ankle trying to steal second base, and the Reds lost Rio and any chance of coming back against the Braves.
That didn't feel too good. I thought I saw him, Tim, clutch at his left hamstring when he slid into third base.
He's gone.
He's gone.
Yep.
He went out and tried, but they're going to have to go to the bullpen. Draybeck's going to leave. He really shouldn't have gone with 2 out.
Yeah, well, pitchers don't know those situations, and you can certainly understand that. And as we said, it's a 4-0 game, and the out wasn't the big thing. But the very fact that Draybeck tried to stretch it to a triple, that could hurt the Pirates a great deal.
Well, Andrea Joyce is with us, and she can give us a field report. Andrea?
Well, Jack, this is what they call Pittsburgh's bullpen by committee. There is no dominant closer here like a Smith or an Eckersley, so on any given night, any one of these guys can be called upon. They come to the ballpark expecting to fill a role. As Roger Mason said, he said one of the advantages of that is that none of them have to take all of the burden. They can share it on every night, and they don't have to, it's not all on one guy. And that's why every single one of those relievers wears this T-shirt under their jerseys. We close the deal, with the operative word, of course, being we. Back upstairs to you guys.
And here comes Bob Walk out of that bullpen. He'll be given all the time he needs to get ready for this one as Atlanta trails 4-0.
think Doug Drabek hurt his left knee. When you slide, you have to have your rear end on the ground, and what that does, it pushes the legs up. But as you see right there, the rear end is up, the knee's on the ground, and I think that's what happened. That Drabek jammed the knee going into the ground as opposed to going into the bag. That does not look like a bad collision right there with the bag, but when that knee went into the ground, I can tell you from experience that that's not the proper way to slide.
And so Bob Walk takes over. 9-2 for the year. He relieved 5 times after making 20 starts. And the others in the bullpen go to work. Bob Patterson and Roger Mason. That's what Andrew Joyce was referring to earlier. They have 11 pitchers on this Pirates staff and a full complement in the bullpen. Here, the leadoff hitter is Sid Bream in the 7th inning, getting late for Atlanta. They trail 4-0. And Bream has one of their 3 hits. That's low for ball 2. Another view from overhead of the Pittsburgh area and the river and the stadium. And it is a record crowd here tonight in Pittsburgh. 2-1 now.
Tell you, with Leland bringing in Bob Walk, what that may tell us is who's going to start game number 4 of the National League Championship Series. Before the game, he was wavering whether to start Bob Walk or Randy Tomlin. And he said one or the other. He was leaning toward Tomlin, and I think this sews it up.
Here's a hit for Sid Bream to start the 7th inning. Andy Van Slyke gets it back in. That's the 2nd hit for Sid Bream, 2 out of 3. And it opens the door here in the 7th. Bream 2 hits against his former mates. And things are busy on the Atlanta bench. Batter is Greg Olson. He's 0 for 2. Drabek was rolling along, injured running the bases. Ball 1. Drabek pitched 6 innings. No runs, 3 hits, struck out 5, and he walked 2. And the count 1-1 to Olson, who delivered a lot of key hits down the stretch for these Braves. He was a good hitter in September. And an overall batting mark of 241. Pittsburgh, of course, wants the double play. 2 balls and a strike. Well, that's a shame. Drabek trying to go to 3rd with 2 out after driving in the run to make it 4-0.
If it were 1 out in a tie ball game, it would have been worth the try, but a 4-0 game trying to go with 2 outs.
Olson hits it deep into left center, and Van Slyke tracks it down. 1 out and the runner back to first. Not much gets down in that Pirate outfield, particularly in left and center.
If the ball hit has an arc on it, it better be out of the park. This guy can track him down with anybody, and between him and Bonds, we said earlier, maybe all that glitters is gold.
Where do you think that ball would have gone in Atlanta, Tim?
Might have been out.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. And Van Slyke, of course, didn't make many errors during the year. We talked about Brett Butler on one of our recent CBS telecasts, but Van Slyke was terrific also.
Van Slyke made 1 error this year. He had a problem with an ankle. I think obviously there are more outfielders that have problems with ankles and knees playing on the artificial surface than you see on outfielders who play on grass. That's one of the big reasons, for instance, Andre Dawson wanted to go to Chicago.
He can cover the ground. And now we have Willard. Is this? Yeah, Jerry Willard is pinch hitting for Belliard. This fella is really tickled about being on the active roster for the Atlanta Braves.
I'll say. The third catcher for the Braves, his 14th professional team in 11 years, signed originally by the Phillies.
Count goes to ball 2 to Willard.
A lot of people may remember that Jerry Willard, one of 5 players traded from the Philadelphia Phillies to Cleveland for Von Hayes, Manny Trio, Julio Franco, George Vukovich, and pitcher Jay Ballard. The 5-for-1 deal that sent Hayes to the Phillies.
And a foul ball makes it 2-1. And Tommy Gregg is on deck, another left-handed pinch hitter being prepared by Bobby Cox. Mention Julio Franco, what a year he had. 341, leading the American League in hitting.
First Texas Ranger ever to lead the American League in hitting.
1 on, 1 out for Atlanta. They trail 4-0 in the 7th. It's on the corner and 2-2. That was a nasty pitch from Bob Watt. Playing behind the runner, Green down at first. And Willard calls time. Got it. Walk picks up his first strikeout. 2 out in the inning.
There's an adage about pitching that says high, tight, low, and away. Well, this was neither. Looked like a backup slider by Bob Walk. Had backed up right in the middle of the plate, and Willard swings through it. High, tight, low, and away, the ideal places to get hitters out. Kurt Simmons used to say the reason for that is because your arms are on your shoulders. If your arms were on your knees, it'd be down and in and up and away.
Now this is Tommy Gregg pinch hitting. And there's a strike to him with a runner at first, 2 out in the 7th. Walk's a very deliberate worker out there. He's probably the slowest worker in the National League. But he knows how to pitch. He knows how to set people up. A record of 9-2 this year. Tommy Glavine. Out of play, 1-2. Glavine is through after 6 innings. 4 runs, 6 hits, struck out 5, walked 3. And Andy Van Slyke was his main tormentor. Bad ball, and Gregg strikes out on that split finger delivery. 1 left for the Braves, who've left 6, and they're still shut out.
Back at Three Rivers Stadium, as we mentioned just a few minutes ago, Doug Drabek injured his left knee sliding into third base. About 5 minutes after Kent Biggerstaff went into the locker room with Drabek to look at his knee, the team physicians showed up, Dr. Joe Caroso and the team orthopedist, Dr. Jack Fela. They are in there right now, all of them looking at Drabek's knee. We'll bring you more as soon as we know. Back to you, Jack.
And we get word, Andrea, that he jammed his left hamstring while sliding into that base. So rather than the knee, it was the hamstring. He went out and tried to throw a couple of pitches. That didn't work out. And meanwhile, his teammates bat in the bottom of the 7th, leading 4-0. Top of the order. Gary Reedus, he is 0 for 3 and facing the new Atlanta pitcher, Mark Wohlers.
Well, you say new, I think that's quite appropriate because new, the connotation just into the world, right? He is so young. Mark Wohlers, the second youngest pitcher to Steve Avery in the National League. That is before the September call-up. From Holyoke, Mass.
The new shortstop, Jeff Blauser. Belliard is out. Blauser is hitting where he was hitting, and now it's Wohlers batting in the number 9 spot. Tim McCarver mentioned the hometown of Mark Wohlers, Holyoke, Mass. And the count goes to 2-2.
Matter of fact, when he was 10 years old, Wohlers lived across the street from the Holyoke Millers general manager, and he used to keep the scoreboard for $2.50 a game.
He almost got his shoe knocked off.
Yeah, he's making a bit more than that now, and if the Braves go on to win it and win everything, then a nice paycheck for a guy who's probably, you know, at the bottom of the barrel as far as pay is concerned.
Started the season in Double-A.
Yeah, Greenville.
Now a leadoff single by Ritas gives Pittsburgh their 7th hit. And this pitcher, who is from my hometown of Holyoke, Mass, is greeted in rude fashion by Ritas, who is a threat to steal. The batter is Jay Bell. And it's ball 1. Let's go back down to Andrea Joyce.
All right, Jack, I am with Kent Biggerstaff right now, the head trainer for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Can you tell us the severity of Doug Drabek's injury and exactly what it is?
Well, he strained his left hamstring as he was rounding second, going to third. We don't believe it's too severe right now, but we'll know a lot more about it tomorrow after we determine how much bleeding and spasm forms in the leg overnight.
Is he having any spasms right now?
Right now, no spasms started, so we're going to try to keep that out of there and keep the bleeding to a minimum, and hopefully he'll be able to make his next scheduled start.
As you look at it right now and how he's feeling and how much pain he's in, do you suspect he'd be able to make his next start?
Well, I know the type of competitor Doug is, and he's definitely going to try to make his next start.
Runner going.
Thanks very much, Kent. Let's go upstairs.
Runner going, and the throw by Olson is too late, and a stolen base.
Gary Ritas running on the play with Jay Bell squaring around, and the throw by Olson is low. A nice play by Jeff Blauser, who just entered the game, to prevent a throwing error by Olson. Gary Ritas 5 for 5 in stolen base attempts against Atlanta this year, so 1 for 1 in the playoffs.
And down there with nobody out. Chance for the Pirates, who lead 4-0 to add to their lead. And now let's see what Bell does on a 1-1 count. He gets the sacrifice down the plate of first from Green to Lemke. Runner at third, 1 out. And already a hero this evening. Andy Van Slyke will be coming up here.
Kind of a hero in his own right, Jay Bell with a sacrifice, and that's not unusual for him. He had 30 during the regular season, and that led the major leagues. He led it last year with 39 sacrifices.
Infield in for Atlanta. And ball 1 to Van Slyke. He is homered. Doubled home a run. Scored a run and flied to left. On ball 1 strike. Ritas at third, 1 out. Pittsburgh has stranded 5 and lost 2 base runners. Good play by Olson. Paladin, Blauser, Lemke, and Sid Bream looking for the play at the plate with 1 out. Short left for Lonnie Smith. Makes the catch. The runner trying. Pretty good throw and out. He made the tag. Olson with a good tag. An unusually good throw by Lonnie Smith ends the inning. The double play. We played 7. Pittsburgh 4. Braves nothing.
This game summary is sponsored by AT&T.
Doug Drabek pulled up lame in this game. He's out. Bob Walk's pitching. Andy Van Slyke started the scoring with a first inning home run, later drove home another with a double. Bobby Bonilla drove home the third Pirate run, and Drabek had the fourth RBI. And it's going into the top of the eighth.
Lonnie Smith making a terrific play to end the seventh. Look at his position after a long run. He ends up in foul territory, and when he has to throw it to fair territory, keep in mind that the runner was in his way. So that was a terrific play by Lonnie Smith. A long run, he set himself, and then had to throw from foul territory into fair territory with the runner in his way. Good play.
And look what he is against Bob Walk, 11 out of 17 in his career. Eighth inning, 4-0 Pittsburgh.
We mentioned Lonnie Smith with the 3 World Championships earlier. He and Bob Walk were teammates on the 1980 Phillies. Bob Walk, the opening night pitcher when the Phillies played the Kansas City Royals in the World Series.
Broken bat, and a ball caught by Jay Bell. I'm sure he caught sight of that bat coming his way, but he still stayed with the ball. Lonnie Smith is 0 for 4.
Yeah, when you have to watch the bat and the ball, the song is follow the bouncing ball, not follow the bouncing bat and ball. Look at that. That wood flying all over the place. Jay's probably looking in his gloves saying, was that the bat or the ball I caught?
He sure got out of the way after he caught the ball. Now it's Lemke. And he's 0 for 3. He reached on an error earlier and made an ill-advised base running play. He's batting with 1 out in the 8th.
That's a big play in this ball game, I think.
Count goes to ball 2.
Back in the 4th inning, a leadoff error by Gary Reedus, and it was a 2-base error, and Mark Lemke ill-advisedly trying to go to third with the Braves trailing by 3 runs, and then a walk and a single followed that. And instead of the Braves plating a run and having runners possibly on first and third and nobody out, they didn't score that inning.
And that's the only inning in which they've had more than 1 base runner on in the inning. 2 out.
Another routine play for Gary Reedus on a ball sharply hit by Lemke. That's why infielders try to stay on the balls of their feet, though. You can't get caught flat-footed. You got to be able to move either to your left or to your right or in or back.
Pendleton bats with the bases empty. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. Ball 1. We could hear the admiration in Jim Leland's voice when he talked about the Atlanta pitcher for tomorrow night.
Steve Avery. And we mentioned his age. Youngest pitcher in the National League before September 1st. Starting in the National League Championship Series, and you know, his last outing for the Braves, he pitched a 6 2/3 inning no-hitter before it was broken up by Luis Gonzalez of the Astros. A game won by the Braves.
The pennant race hasn't bothered Avery, and he helped get them in here to the postseason. 2 balls and a strike to Pendleton with 2 out. And the Braves bats are very quiet this evening against Drabek, and now Walk. He was way behind that one, 2-2.
Yeah, good pitching acts as a sedative to the bats. It puts them to sleep.
Bobby Cox trying to conjure up something here. 4-0 Pittsburgh in the 8th. Pendleton hits one to third to Buechele. Got him. Close play. Down in order, and it's still 4-0 Pirates. Yesterday during the workout, Andrea Joyce talked it over with Bobby Bonilla. Is it different from last year?
During the season, you know, I'm going to be myself, and I'm going to go out there and run to the plate and smile and do my thing and have my fun and let everybody know that I'm enjoying up, because I really am. You know, I'm getting a second shot at it, and it's just exciting. So I'm looking forward to it. I will run to the plate.
And he did, and he's up there, bottom of the 8th. Leading it off against a new pitcher, Mike Stanton, strike 1. When he is walked, he singled home a run in the 3rd, and he grounded up. Stanton, the 3rd pitcher of the night for Atlanta. Glavine, Wohlers, now Mike Stanton, 5-5 during the year, 7 saves. Tony up the middle. He's 2 for 3.
Been on base 3 times. Andy Van Slyke with a home run and a double, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored, and Barry Bonds with a single and a walk. So the big 3 have certainly done the job tonight for the Pirates.
And this is Bonds. Bonds 0 for 2. He hit a ball really hard that was ruled an error. A ruling that could have gone either way. Leadoff man is on for Pittsburgh. Foul ball, strike 1. Pitchers tomorrow night, 2 left-handers, Zane Smith and Steve Avery.
Then an off day and a 3 o'clock start on Saturday. And then a night game on Sunday, and if necessary, another 3 o'clock start next Monday from Atlanta.
Stanton humped that one past Barry Bonds. There's some unusual stories here this week in the Pittsburgh paper. First of all, about Bonilla leaving. They've almost given up the ghost on keeping him here in Pittsburgh, although they're going to make another offer to him. And Barry Bonds talking about leaving the year after.
Yeah, we heard that today before the game that the Pirates were making another offer for Bonilla. And the other part of that killer bee tandem, Barry Bonds able to leave after next year.
And Bonds quoted about being attracted to California. And I'm a California guy. So Pittsburgh better jump on this opportunity right now. They won the first game last year when they played Cincinnati 4-3. But then lost in 6 games. Foul ball is going out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes, it remains. And he certainly does bat well against left-handed pitching, Jim.
284 against left-handers this year after batting 304 last year. Stanton, a tough assignment, much like Kent Merker of the Braves. Both teams blessed with solid left-handed relief pitching.
Leadoff man on for Pittsburgh in the 8th inning. Pirates lead 4-0. And Bonds measured that one. And the count goes to 2-2.
Talk about the killer bees. It's the killer V that's done the damage tonight. Van Slyke.
Solo home run in the 1st, RBI double in the 3rd, scored a run. Ball 4 puts 2 men on base. Well, these Pirates have added another bat to their lineup, to the point where Van Slyke, Bonilla, and Bonds don't have to think they have to do it all. They'll take a walk and get a fella like Buechele up there.
Yeah,
with 2 on, nobody out.
You can weave that story about losing Bonilla. If you lose Bonilla and you offer that much money, certainly some of that money could go to the signing of Steve Buechele. So you may lose Bonilla, but you pick up a quality player like Buechele. Now, he's not a run producer like Bonilla. However, this year, drove in, hit 4 more home runs than Bonilla and drove in 2 more runs than Andy Van Slyke. So this guy's a producer right here, and you can get him a lot cheaper, so that the Pirates are continuing to funnel players in, even though they know pretty much that they're going to lose one of their big ones.
Now there are 2 on and nobody out, and ball 1 to Buechele. And there's nothing doing in the Atlanta bullpen, so Stanton is on his own. Robbie Cox not much to cheer about. Jimmy Williams, his coach, alongside. Jim Beecham, Leo Mazzoni, and Pat Corrales. Clarence Jones, the other coaches. Another pitch out of the strike zone, ball 2. Pirates trying to win this one for Doug Drabek, who is out of the game after working 6 innings. Strike 2 and 1. We heard the trainer of the Pirates say they hoped that Drabek would take his turn, but Tim, you pull a hamstring, you don't come back in 5 or 6 days.
Well, it depends on the severity of it. If it's a slightly strained thing, his start would be Monday. So if it's only slightly strained, he's got a shot. But if it's severely strained, no chance.
Out of play by Buechele, making it 2 and 2. Our action here tomorrow night with Minnesota and Toronto taking the day off. 8:30 Eastern time. The Braves and the Pirates again here on CBS. And then Saturday from Atlanta, Sunday night, and Monday afternoon from Atlanta if necessary. Count goes to 3 and 2. For a lot of these players, it's the first time in playoff competition. That's true for Stanton. He'll have to settle down. He gave up a base hit to Bonilla. He walked Bonds, and it's 3 and 2 on Buechele. Runners are going. And a foul ball with nobody out. Jim Leyland started the runners.
Take more chances when you're ahead. Do a lot of things. You do stay out of the double play. That's one of the things you do. But with a 4-run lead, you're trying to put a team away. And by sending the runners, that's the best chance to do it.
And we're very late in the game in the bottom of the 8th. Let's see if they go again. Lemke trying to keep Bonilla close at second. Jim Leyland, the manager, with Milt May, Andy Van Slyke. Runners going. And a ground ball to short, avoids the double play with the runners on the move, 1 out.
If you're the trail runner in a situation like that, you want to make sure you hurry to get to second base. You see Bonilla is not running hard, but it's imperative that Bonds run hard, because even though they were running, there's a chance to turn the double play because the ball was hit very hard. So Bonds is there at second base, and that's the one thing that Leyland has said. You know, they had that altercation this spring, Bonds and Leyland. Photographers squabble in spring training, well chronicled, and Jim Leyland came out after that and said, Barry Bonds is my left fielder. He gives it all. He's a talented guy, and has made the comment that he's the best left fielder he's ever seen. That covers a lot of ground.
It'd be tough to come up with somebody with any better than he is. There's Barry Bonds running the bases down at second, and the bases are loaded now with a walk to Slot. Bases loaded, 1 out for Chico Lind. He is 0 for 3. They play him way around to the right. Atlanta infield wants the double play to end this 8th inning and keep the score 4-0 Pittsburgh. Lind drove in 54 this year. He's a pretty good number 8 hitter. Out of play. And a good play by a spectator and a souvenir. Base it loaded, 1 out.
Infield in double play depth, but if the ball's not hit sharply, they do have the option to come home, especially Sid Bream at first base. He's playing in the baseline, and Terry Pendleton at third base in the baseline.
Stanton, the third Atlanta pitcher. Ball's behind on the count, 2-1. Pittsburgh, a run in the first on the Van Slyke homer. Got 2 in the third and added a run in the sixth. And the count goes to 3-1. 3-1, bases loaded, 1 out. Stanton has to throw a strike. 3-2. Bases loaded, 1 out, 3-2. Into right field, and that'll get a run home. The catch by Justice. 2 runners advance, and the score goes to 5-0.
Remember, we talked about runners at first and second on a 3-2 count, sending the runners. Well, that allowed Bonilla to go to third base, and he walks home after Justice makes the catch in deep right field. But sending the runners in that situation stayed out of the double play, and the Pirates played another one.
And because they get that extra run, making it 5-0, they're going to allow Bob Walk to hit with 2 outs. Strike 1. Jonathan in to talk to his hurler.
And again, this by Walk going 2+ innings tonight, it almost is certain now that Randy Tomlin will be the 4th game starter on Sunday night, because Jim Leland, wavering between Walk and Tomlin, said whoever pitches tonight or tomorrow, he'll probably go with the other guy, and since Walk is pitching tonight, it'll probably be Tomlin on Sunday.
This is a strike. And I wonder if the Pirates are going to do any running, try to steal a run with Bonds at third and Slaught at first, and 2 out, 2 strikes on the batter. 5-0 Pittsburgh. They're not going. Foul ball, 0-2.
Normally you wouldn't do that because you wouldn't want your pitcher to lead off the next inning. Well, as far as the Pirates are concerned, they don't think there's going to be a next inning. This is the bottom of the 8th inning. So what you're saying is not a bad play, or not a bad thing to think about.
Particularly with Bonds, a runner at third.
Right.
And the inning comes to a close on the breaking ball, but one more for Pittsburgh. We head into the 9th, and it's 5-0 Pirates. 5-0 Pittsburgh with Bob Walk on the mound, and a record-breaking crowd for Three Rivers Stadium. 57,347, and a lot of them will be back tomorrow night for a game 2 of the National League Championship Series. Zane Smith for the home club, and Steve Avery, the youngster for Atlanta. 2 left-handers. Avery 18-8. What a season he had. Zane Smith was good again. It's all Pirates here tonight in a 5-0 lead carried into the 9th. Bob Walk in relief of Doug Drabek. The injury to Drabek, one of the big stories of the evening, sliding into third base or going to third. He pulled a hamstring and could only work the first 6. Walk has retired 6 in a row in relief.
And if Walk finishes this game, he will earn a save He only has 3 major league saves. And with Drabek out possibly for Monday's start, Walk might be the starter and have the unusual combination, if he wins that game, of a win and a save. A win and a save as a starter.
Look at that ball go by Justice. And there goes the shutout. Man, did he smash that one. I was about to say Walk has the luxury of pitching to Justice, leading off in a 5-0 lead, and look what happened.
Wow.
He hit 21 during the year. And of course, his most memorable was that one in Cincinnati
against Rob Dibble. And that won a game in which the Atlanta Braves came back from a 6-0 deficit to win the game 7-6. Holy cow. Does he unload on this baby? Woo.
And now Ron Cant, and ball 1 to him. That was the 5th hit of the night for Atlanta, that's all. They've been out hit 8-5.
Mentioned 21 home runs for Justice. That's in only 396 at bats this year. He missed a lot of time, about 6 weeks, with lower back problems.
Broken bat and hit to lean, and he still gets it. That's the first out in the 9th inning. Well, our thanks to the folks with our blimp coverage. Overhead shots tonight, courtesy of the Goodyear Blimp Spirit of Akron. Goodyear Blimp now in their 4th decade of participation in major sports telecasts. The coordinating producer of Major League Baseball on CBS is Rick LaCivita. Tonight's telecast directed by Joe Assetti. The senior producer of CBS Sports is Ed Gorn, and the executive producer of CBS Sports is Ted Shaker. Sid Bream, the batter, with 1 out here in the 9th. Bream has 2 of the 5 Atlanta hits. And he pops it into right center, and that'll be handled. 2 people call for it, but Van Slyke prevails, and they're 2 out. Well, you don't very often see Atlanta go down this softly, do you, Tim?
Nope. No, that's what good pitching will do for you. Doug Drabek, a sterling performance, and Bob Walk's been throwing well also.
We're going to have some post-game interviews for you, so don't go away. The score is 5-1 with 2 out of the 9th. Earlier today, Toronto defeated Minnesota 5-2, and they're even at a game apiece. They'll take tomorrow off. Greg Olson, ball 1. David Justice with a home run, but the Atlanta bench is not very happy. There's Ron Gant. And ball 2. Brian Hunter in your picture. A bouncer up the middle to lean, and this will end it. 5-1 Pittsburgh. 5-1 Pirates. And it puts the Braves under the gun tomorrow night. Well, they rewarded this big crowd, this record-setting crowd of 57,000 plus. Bob Walk gets a save. Drabek the win. We'll have some post-game action for you here. 5-1 the final. Wins the opener 5-1. Drabek over Glavin, a save for Walk. The only home runs by Van Slyke for Pittsburgh and David Justice for Atlanta. The Chevrolet player of the game is Andy Van Slyke of the Pirates. Chevrolet will donate $1,000 on his behalf to the Special Olympics. He's one of 2 with Andrea Joyce.
That's right, Jack, along with Bobby Bonilla. Andy, once again, you had success against Tom Glavine. What's the secret?
Well, I don't really think there's a secret. I think I was just trying to get pitches in the strike zone to hit, and that's really my problem against left-handed pitching when I do have it, is I get out of the strike zone, and tonight I just try to concentrate to stay in the strike zone and get some good swings on it. I put the bar on the ball, and that was the difference.
2 RBIs tonight, just 1 less than you had in the entire series last year. Do you sense that there's something different?
Well, the difference at this point versus last year was we were down 1-0, we're up 1-0. I think that's an awful good feeling. Now I know what the Reds felt after they won the first game, and if we can get tomorrow night's game I think this ball club will have a confidence level that will be hard to beat.
All right, congratulations. Bobby, you said you were going to come out and have some fun. You looked like you did. You guys had to wait a couple of weeks to get this first one done and won. What does it do for you as you get ready for game 2?
Well, it was just nice to get out here. Everyone was a bit antsy and excited, but, you know, the whole key tonight was Andy set the tempo, and, you know, we look forward to big things from him, and hope he continues to do that.
All right, thanks very much. Congratulations. Good luck tomorrow. And we will be back with more from Three Rivers Stadium with Jack and Tim right after this.
5-1 the final. And it's not very often, Tim McCarver, that you shut this Atlanta club down. They didn't score until the 9th inning.
Yeah, but they had a chance. I think that was a big play of the game. In the 4th inning, Mark Lemke led off that inning with a sharply hit ball through the legs of Gary Reedus. And the ball ended up in the right field corner. At that time, Pittsburgh was leading 3-0. Bonilla makes a fine barehanded play, but overthrows the cutoff man. And Jay Bell, with a perfect throw, nails Lemke at third base. And the throw by Bell is the play of the game as far as I'm concerned, because if Lemke makes it to third or if he stays to second, the Braves have a chance for a big inning.
Yeah, because a walk followed and then a base hit. That was the only time they put more than one man on base in an inning, and that brought about our final score of 5-1. Pat O'Brien is going to wrap things up here this evening from Three Rivers Stadium. 5-1 Pirates, and we'll return to Three Rivers Stadium after this message and a word from your local station.